Hello guys, welcome to FortiGate Firewall Master course. In this course, today we will discuss about basic overview of FortiGate Firewall dashboard like system information, how to create users in the FortiGate Firewall, and how to create admin accounts to manage the firewall, as well as how to configure interfaces, static routes, firewall policies. Okay, and along with overview we also have a basic lab setup as well as practical today. In this diagram we can observe this is the internet and this is our firewall and this is our PC, right? How this PC gets internet through our FortiGate firewall, today we will discuss briefly. Okay, in this, port 1 is WAN facing interface and port 2 is LAN facing interface. That means that is connected to our firewall. Okay, for this basic setup we need a FortiGate firewall and a PC. Okay, I already installed this firewall and PC in virtual machine in VMware. In VMware. For our today lab purpose, I will briefly explain how to set up this in virtual environment like VMware or Hyper-V or EVNG. Okay, for today I already for login, the default credentials for FortiGate firewall is username is admin and password is blank, but I already configured this firewall for our lab purpose. Here I am entering username and password at the rate 7860. Okay, username and password. Okay, now here I configured in this diagram port 1 is WAN facing interface, right? It has some IP and I configured it as a DHCP. Okay, it is getting IP from my home router. Now we have to check the port 1 IP. Show system interface port 1. Okay, this is the basic settings of port 1. It is in virtual domain, root domain and IP is set to DHCP and set access ping HTTP. Okay, now we have to find the IP of port 1, diagnose IP address list. Okay, here we can find the port 1 IP of the port 1, 192.168.31.15. okay, now we have to enter it in the browser to get the dashboard of the firewall. Okay, 192.168.31.15, right? 31.15. It is asking username and password. Username is admin and the password is, I already configured this password. I am entering it. Okay, just click on login. Now it is redirected to dashboard of the firewall. Okay, we will explain later all these things briefly. It will refresh. Okay, this is the dashboard of the FortiGate firewall in virtual or else real-time device, also same like this only. In status section, in dashboard status section, we can observe system information, host name of this firewall and serial name and what firmware version it is running and mode of deployment, as well as how much time it is up and it will come. Okay, and administrators currently who is logged in, as well as FortiGate cloud and how much CPU is currently used, 40% currently running. Okay, how much memory is currently used, in how many DHCP clients currently there are no one is connected and configured, that's why it's showing DHCP clients 0, and how many sessions currently running. Here we can observe all in status dashboard. Welcome to this network interfaces. What are the interfaces this firewall have? Yeah, port 1, port 2, port 3, and so on, etc. Physical interfaces, these all are. Okay. Yeah, DNS, what are the DNS we can configure here, as well as static routes we can configure here, policy routes, and we can create firewall policies here. Okay, except addresses which are used in firewall policies, virtual IPs for port forwarding, etc. In security profiles, web filtering, application control and application filter, SSL in application signatures, and in VPN section, yeah, VPN wizard, here we can configure remote sec VPN, SSL VPN, or tunnel mode in web mode also. In user and authentication section, user definition, here we can create users, and here we can create user groups. Okay, and Fortinet single sign on, etc. Wi-Fi control means, here from this section we can operate FortiGate switches, Fortinet access points, etc. In the system section, administrators, here we can configure admins who can access this firewall and how they can manage the firewall, and the admin profiles like super admin, like read only admin, like that. Here we can observe what firmware version our currently firewall is running, and the basic settings like system host name, date, time and date, and time zone, etc. And access, what is the HTTP port, HTTPS port, SSH port, telnet port, etc. And a password history, how we can configure password scope. Okay. Next, device coaches, yellow 40, these all we will discuss briefly about all these options. Yeah, we can change the long ways, as well as the, yeah, by default this is green color, right? We can change colors here like this. Currently we will run like this, only green. Later all. Okay, in security fabric we can verify the licenses, etc. In log report we can see the logs, current logs, who is accessing which one, system events. Yeah, like this. Okay, these are all the logs which are currently running in the firewall. Okay, this is the just a basic overview of the firewall, where we can configure what we can configure at which place in the firewall. Okay, now as per our diagram, our today agenda is the PC gets internet through FortiGate firewall. Okay, right? For this, our port 1 WAN, this is port 1 means WAN interface IP, right? What is the WAN network? I already told you, network interfaces. Port 1 IP I configured through DHCP, that means it gets default. This is port 1, double click on it. We can see the port. I configured this through DHCP, right? It is already getting IP and subnet mask along with gateway. Okay, IP is 31.15, subnet mask is /24, and gateway is 31.1, right? This is port 1, and alias we can give WAN interface. Like description, we can anything role is WAN. I can configure LAN, WAN, DMZ zones also. The role of this port 1 interface is WAN facing interface. That way we selected role here, role as WAN here. Okay, configuring. Okay, yeah, we are enabling administrative HTTP access, HTTP SSH, and ping administrator access for this WAN interface. Okay, this is the configuration of port 1 WAN interface. Okay, we are allowing HTTPS as well as HTTP. Here HTTP is showing red, that means it is not secure. That's why we only use HTTPS. For now we will use, later we will, but in real time HTTP is not secure when compared with HTTPS. Okay, as per our diagram, we assigned an IP to the WAN interface, that means port 1 interface 192.168.31.15, right? Yeah, now we have to assign IP for the port 2 interface. We can take any network, for example take 192.168.10.0 20/24. Just take this network and assign one IP from this network to the port 2. Like generally we will assign 10.1, 192.168.10.1. Okay, 10.1, right? Now we are assigning 192.168.10.1 to the port 2. Okay, where is port 2? This one. Just here we can observe port is just we didn't configure anything, that's why the default IP is 0/0/0/0/0. Okay, now just edit it and the name is port 2, alias is LAN interface, and the role is LAN because it is LAN facing interface. Okay, in addressing mode previously while configuring WAN interface we selected DHCP. Okay, now this is manual. Now we have to enter the IP which you want to assign for this port. We already decided the IP of this port number 192.168.10.1, right, /24. 192.168.10.1/24. Okay, next we have to enable administrative access on these interfaces, HTTPS, ping, SSH. For right now these three are enough for us. Yeah, here FortiGate Firewall acts as a DHCP server also. Here we configure some DHCP. Here 10.1 is already used to our LAN interface as a gateway. Address range we can manually configure from 10.2 to entire range it gives. For example 10.200 to 254. Okay, this range we given to DHCP clients, and subnet mask is same. Default gateway is same as interface IP, that means 10.1, like that means 192.168.10.1. Okay, DNS server same as system. Here we will discuss later about this system DNS. These all things we will discuss later in our course. We will explain everything briefly. Okay, enable. Okay, now we configured LAN interface also and enable administrative access, ping, HTTPS and SSH. The LAN interface port number is 192.168.10.1. Okay, in order to pass the traffic from this PC to internet, the firewall must has a route, right? That's why we have to configure a one static route, as well as we need one static route, static route. Okay, where we can configure in the firewall static route means just go to network and scroll down. Here we can observe static routes. Just this is I previously configured, just delete this one. Now we will learn how to create a static route. Like this it shows defaultly. Click on create new subnet, give 0.0.0.0/0 means any IP in the internet with any subnet mask we can access through gateway address. What is our gateway? Currently I set up in my home environment. My home gateway is my home router gateway is 192.168.31.1. Okay, interface is WAN interface automatically because the outgoing traffic must go through WAN interface. Administrative distance 10. Okay, we configured one static route also. In order to pass the traffic from this PC to internet, firewall requires a policy also to allow the LAN traffic to the WAN. That's why we need to configure a one firewall policy. Okay, firewall policy. Okay, firewall policy where we can go to policy and objects, firewall policy policy, create new means name, we can give any name. We are allowing traffic from LAN to WAN, right? LAN to WAN, schedule always, we always want the internet access. Incoming interface means the traffic where it is coming, that means here we can clearly observe PC coming. PC means port 2, PC is directly connected to port 2, that's why incoming interface is port 2. That means port 2 receives the traffic, that's why it is called as incoming interface. And the traffic is exits the firewall at port 1, that means outgoing interface is port 1. Port 1 means WAN interface. Okay, source means here we can create an address object with the firewall IP as well as with the entire network address, but we are currently allowing all. And we can here we can define user and user groups who can access. Currently we are leaving blank. And destination also all. In the internet we are able to, we have to access all the things in the internet. Service also all services including FTP, SNMP, all. Okay, like this. Yeah, NAT should be enabled because the private IP is translated to public IP in firewall also, that's why we are enabling NAT here. And this NATing encrypts our firewall IP and it does not it does not exposes our private IP to the internet, that's why we are enabling NAT here. Yeah, these are web filter, DNS filter, application control. We about these all things we will briefly discuss in our course. Okay, currently we are next enable this policy, this should be enabled. Okay, now we created one firewall policy also from LAN to WAN to allow the traffic. Okay, we configured interface address, IP addresses, and one static route and one firewall policy, and enabled NAT on the policy. Okay, to hide our public address. Okay, now we have to check whether PC is getting internet or not. I already configured PC also virtually in VMware. We will discuss about this PC setup also briefly in our course. Okay, now we have to firstly check what is the IP address of the this system. Okay, yeah, currently 192.168.1.100, but that is not our series. Our series is, we can see in LAN interface. Yeah, okay, LAN interface we configured 192.168.10.0 series, 10. Series. Okay, so there is small mistake, misunderstanding. Okay, close. We configure DHCP server also in the LAN interface. Just DHCP IPv4 properties and put these to DHCP, obtain automatically address. Okay, okay, close. It is identifying. Once it identified, we will check the IP address and we will ping to the internet. Once the ping is success, our lab is completed. Yeah, if not, we have to troubleshoot it again. Now just check what is the IP status. We can check IP address of this in command prompt also. Yeah, now it got 192.168.10.100. We configured DHCP pool from 10.200, right? That's why it is getting first IP 200. Yeah, here address range to from starting from 200 to 254. Okay, that's why it gets 200 starting IP. Okay, now just open command prompt cmd. Okay, command prompt, I leave it just Windows plus R cmd. Okay, and hit enter. It will open. Yeah, it is little bit late because it is a virtual, right? That's why it is taking some time to open it. In this command prompt, now we have to check whether the PC is reachable to internet or not. If it is reaching, okay, our lab is success. Ping, firstly we will ping our gateway, right, to the firewall. What is our, this is how much it get, what is the IP of this PC1? 192.168.10.200, right? Okay, should ping the gateway first to 10.1. We will ping 192.168.10.1, which is this PC gateway. Okay, yeah, it is successfully pinging, right? Yeah, now we will ping. Now this PC able to reach its gateway, that means firewall interface. Now we will ping Google DNS ping 8.8.8.8. Now yeah, it is successfully pinging internet also, which is connected to our firewall. Okay, now we can browse something in the internet and we will check. Browse whether internet is coming or just pinging. Just check. Small check. Yeah, this is a virtual machine, right? That's why it takes some time to open the application. Yeah, ping. For example, open fortinet.com. Fortinet.com. Okay, it should open because it is pinging, right? It will open. Global layer of cybersecurity fortinet.com. Yeah, browsing also working. That means PC1 is successfully getting the internet through the Fortinet firewall. Okay, which means our lab is successful. This PC which has a IP 192.168.10.200 is successfully pinging internet, and we can browse also. Okay, today finally we will discuss about what you learned today. Okay, okay, what you learned. Firstly, we see the overview of the basic overview of the firewall dashboard, right? means voice system information and users, where we can create users and user groups, here we can create a admin profiles, and a general system settings, date and time, color change, and HTTP, HTTPS, SSH, telnet, port numbers. All these we see in this general and CPU uses, memory uses, and number of active sessions, DHCP clients. All these I will show once again. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this here dashboard, in status section we can see system information, like all these things. And we log out, we will log in again. It will log, and firewall dashboard, and one more we discussed about how this PC gets internet, how a PC gets internet through the FortiGate firewall, right? Through the FortiGate firewall. For this, we configured IPs to the interfaces, to the WAN interface as well as LAN interface, and we configured a static route, and we configured a firewall policy. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for joining.